Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Make It Yourself. In today's video we are going to learn how to make these 3D lavender flower coasters. If you would have checked out my channel, you would have seen few more 3D flower coasters, and this is the third one, and I hope you like this as much as you did the other 3D flower coasters. Also, this is the first time I tried nail stamping from this awesome brand called Maniology, where you get these stamping kits which you can use to create unique and beautiful designs suiting your personality. Do check out the description for the link. You can also get 10% off by using my code BYPAPARI10. So more details on the brand and the discount code will be available in the description as well. So we are going to start off by using a 3.5 hook and white cotton yarn. More details on the things used for today's tutorial will be in the description of this video. So do refer the description part. We're making a magic ring and then we're going to chain one. So this chain one does not count as a stitch. And after the chain one, we take the magic ring out of our fingers and then we're going to make 10 double crochets into the magic ring. So this is our first stitch or the first double crochet, the second double crochet, the third double crochet, the fourth double crochet, the fifth double crochet, the sixth double crochet, the seventh double crochet, the eighth double crochet, the ninth, and the 10th double crochet. So after the 10th double crochet, we are going to pull the tail yarn of this magic ring and close the magic ring as tight as possible. And now we are going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch. So we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. So here is the first top of the first double crochet. So we're going to slip stitch there, slip stitch under both the loops, and then we're going to chain one. So for this round also, this chain one does not count as a stitch, and we're going to make an increase in each of the stitches. So starting from the same stitch where you made the chain one, make 2 double crochets in that stitch, and then make 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So continue making an increase in each of the stitches till you reach the first stitch again, and by the end of this round number 2 you should have a total of 20 double crochets. Now slip stitch to the top of first stitch and then chain one. Chain one doesn't count as a stitch, and for this round number 3 the pattern is to make 1 double crochet in the first stitch and to make an increase in the next stitch. So in the next stitch you will be making 2 double crochets, and then again make 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then make an increase in the next stitch, so make 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So repeat this pattern till the end of this round, and by the end you should have a total of 30 double crochets. So slip stitch to the top of the first stitch again and chain one, And for round number 4, the pattern is to make one double crochet in the first stitch, one double crochet in the next stitch, and to make an increase in the third stitch. So make 2 double crochets in the third stitch. You'll be repeating this pattern till the end of this round of one double crochet in one stitch, one double crochet in the second stitch, and an increase in the third stitch. And once you reach the end of this round, you should have a total of 40 double crochets. Now slip stitch to the top of the first stitch and then chain one and make one double crochet in the first stitch, one double crochet in the second stitch, one double crochet in the third stitch, and an increase on the fourth stitch. So make 2 double crochets on the fourth stitch. So we'll be repeating this pattern till the end of this round of making one double crochet in the first stitch, one double crochet in the second stitch, one double crochet in the third stitch, and an increase on the fourth stitch. So continue this pattern till the end of this round and you should have a total of 50 double crochets. Now for the next round, we are going to again start off by slip stitching to the top of the first stitch and then making a chain of 1. And for this round, the pattern will be to make one double crochet in the first stitch, one double crochet in the second stitch, one double crochet in the third stitch, one double crochet in the fourth stitch, and an increase in the fifth stitch. So you'll be repeating this pattern of one double crochet in the first stitch, one double crochet in the second stitch, one double crochet in the third stitch, one double crochet in the fourth stitch, and an increase in the fifth stitch. So we'll be repeating this pattern till the end of this round and you should have a total of 60 double crochets for this round. So this is the last round and we are going to now slip stitch to the first stitch and we're going to chain 1 and then pull the yarn tight to make a knot, and then we're going to trim off the tail yarn. So now we're going to stitch in all the tail yarns that we have. We have one tail yarn in the center and one tail yarn after the last round. So to stitch in the tail yarn, you can leave a long tail and use a needle, and then using the needle you can stitch in the tail yarn into the existing stitches. Or what I do is I leave a shorter tail yarn because I do not want to waste the yarn, and I use the smaller crochet hook and pull the tail yarn through few of the existing stitches, and once I feel that the tail yarn is secure enough, I trim it off. I also dab a dot of glue sometimes to make sure that the tail yarn do not come off. So here the coaster circle is done. Now we're going to start by making the flower. So to make the flower, use this pink or purple yarn and make a slip knot and reduce the size of the slip knot, and we're going to pull the slip knot through one of the stitches. So here we have these different rounds that we made for the coaster. This is first round, second round, third round, and the fourth round. So into this fourth round stitches is where we are going to make the flower. So insert your hook in the manner shown in the video. Insert it through this side and take it out on the other side, and then pull this slip knot through it. So pull it through this stitch here, and then we're going to chain 8. Chain 1, chain 2, chain 3, chain 4, chain 5, chain 6, chain 7, and chain 8. Now on the fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the fifth stitch from the hook, we are going to make a slip stitch. So make a slip stitch. Now slip stitch into the next stitch, which is the sixth chain from the hook, and then chain 4 again, and then slip stitch back into the same stitch. Now slip stitch into the next stitch or the next chain, which is the seventh chain from the hook, and then chain 4 and slip stitch back into the same stitch. Now this tail yarn that we have from the slip knot, we are going to pull it to the other side so that it does not disturb us while we make our flower pattern. So this is the third petal. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to the base of the first petal. So if you remember, the base of the first petal was done on the fifth chain from the hook. So into the same stitch, insert your hook and make a slip stitch. Now all the 3 petals are combined in the center, and now we're going to go ahead and make the next petal, next bunch of petals. So for that, slip stitch into the next stitch as shown here, and we're going to now repeat the same pattern. We're going to chain 8, so it's the second chain, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8th stitch. Now on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, on the 5th stitch from the hook, make a slip stitch. Now slip stitch into the next stitch, which is the 6th stitch from the hook, and then chain 4 again, and then slip stitch back into the same stitch. Now slip stitch into the next stitch, that is the 7th stitch from the hook, and after the slip stitch make a chain of 4, and then slip stitch back into the same stitch, and now we are going to slip stitch to the base of the first stitch, or you can say to the base of the first petal. So insert your hook and slip stitch into the first petal, and now you'll have the stitch in the center. And now you're going to make the third cluster of petals. So for that, slip stitch through the next stitch as shown here, and then repeat the same pattern. So I'll show you the pattern one more time. So chain 8 first, and after the chain of 8, on the 5th stitch from the hook, make a slip stitch to the next stitch, chain 4, and slip stitch back into the same stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch, and chain 4, and slip stitch back into the same stitch. You should have 3 petals by now. Now insert your hook into the base of the first petal and slip stitch at the center, and then you can insert your hook into the next stitch of the coaster and make the next set of petals. So we have already made 3 sets of petals, and we'll be repeating this same pattern 4 more times, and we should have these cluster of 3 petals, we should have 7 sets of them. So after the seventh set, the pattern will change a bit, and I will show you that part in details. This part we are just repeating the same pattern 4 more times, so I have fast forwarded this. If you want to see this part also in details, you can go to the speed settings and reduce the speed and can see this fast forwarded part in slow motion or in normal speed as well. Also, I would like to say that this pattern you can customize it. You need not have these 7 cluster of sets. You can add more clusters on or reduce the number of clusters based on your preference. And this is what I felt suited for my pattern, so I have added these 7 clusters of these petals with 3 uh, clusters. And now after the 7th cluster, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch as shown here. And this time I'll make a petal with only a cluster with only 2 petals. So I'm going to chain 7 instead of 8. So after chaining 7, we are going to slip stitch on the 5th chain from the hook. This part is same as what we did for the previous clusters. After the slip stitch, move on to the next stitch, which is the 6th chain from the hook, and then slip stitch, and now chain 4 and slip stitch back into the same stitch. And now you should be having 2 petals here. Now slip stitch to the base of the first petal, and now slip stitch into the next stitch of the coaster. And this last one we will have only 1 petal, so chain 5 alone. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now slip stitch to the 4th chain from the hook and make a slip stitch, and this is the last petal of this flower, and slip stitch back into the next stitch of the coaster, and now chain 1 and leave a long tail, and then you can trim off the pink yarn. So as you can see that the size of the petal reduces towards the end, and then we complete off this flower. Now this tail yarn, you can pass it through few of the existing stitches. You can use a needle or a smaller crochet hook. Here I am just using a needle and passing it through few of the existing stitches in the pink color. So make sure when you stitch in tail yarns, stitch in into the same colored stitches. So here the flower is done, and as you can see the other coaster I used a purple color flower. Now we are going to make the stem and the leaves. So to make the stem, make a slip knot using the green yarn, and we are going to work again on this 4th row stitches itself like we did for the flower. And from the base of the flower we'll be cutting we'll be working on the same round, and we'll be using 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. Okay, so we're going to start on the 16th stitch from the base of the flower. So this is not a hard or fast rule, and you can change the count. You'll be pulling the slip knot through the back side of the coaster, and once you have the stitch on the front side, you'll be slip stitching or you'll be making chains over the next 6 stitches. Just pull the loop through the stitch and slip stitch. So this is one stitch. Again, insert your hook, pull a loop and slip stitch. This is the second stitch. Insert your hook, pull a loop and slip stitch. The third stitch, insert and slip stitch, fourth stitch, and this is the fifth stitch, and this is the sixth stitch. So you can change these numbers based on how you like it. So I just left a stem of around 6 stitches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim off this yarn. Just leave enough yarn so that you can complete off making this stem. The reason why we trimmed it off is because we will need the yarn to be on the front side of the coasters while we make the leaves, and then we will need it on the back side of the coasters when we make the stem. So now we're going to make a leaf. So we're going to pull this tail yarn to the front side of the coaster. So just after the slip stitch, pull the tail yarn to the front side. Now using this tail yarn, you will be chaining 3. You already have 1 chain, so we'll have a total of 4 chains here for the leaf. And after a chain of 3, we will be making 1 double crochet on the 4th stitch from the hook. So the 4th stitch is nothing but the slip stitch that we did, which made a chain out there. And after the double crochet, we'll be making a chain 1 picot. So for that, you're going to first chain 1 and then insert your hook into the base 2 loops and then make a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 3 again, and then we're going to slip stitch to the same stitch, that is the base 4th chain from the hook. So as you can see, a leaf pattern is formed here. So we're going to slip stitch to the same stitch, and after that we'll be continuing to make the stem. So put your leaf on the right side of the stem, and then now this tail yarn will be used. It's easier to use a needle, so use a needle and then pull it back through the same stitch to the back side of the coaster. Like as I said, while making the stem we will be having the yarn on the back side. So now slip stitch over the next 5 stitches to make the stem. So here you can see the one leaf is ready. You can add as many number of leaves as you want. I'm planning to add 2 leaves. So I'll make a stem of for the next 5 stitches, and after that I'll be adding the second leaf. So as I said, to add the leaf we will need the yarn on the front side of the coaster. So just below the slip stitch, you will be pulling that yarn to the other side. If you have a needle already at the end of the tail yarn, it is easy. You can just insert it through the stitch and bring it to the other side. And now to make the second leaf, again we'll be using the same pattern. You'll be chaining 3. Already the slip stitch that we made at the base of this chain 3 acts as the 4th chain. So we'll be making 1 double crochet on the 4th stitch from the hook, and after this double crochet we'll be making a chain 1 picot on top. So chain 1, insert your hook to the base 2 loops and make a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 3 again and then slip stitch to the same stitch, or you can say the 4th stitch from the hook. So slip stitch into the same stitch. So here you can slip stitch to the other loop of the 4th stitch, because I want the leaf to be on the left side this time. So place the leaf on the left side and now continue making the stem part. So insert your needle and pull the yarn to the back side, because we'll be making the stem now. So we'll be doing this uh, thing of pulling the yarn to the back side and front side as and when we need to make the leaves. So now slip stitch over the next 4 stitches Now since we placed the leaf on the left side and then started making the slip stitches, you can see the leaf is placed on the left side. So I wanted the leaves on either side of the stem, so this is why I did this. And now after slip stitching over the next 4 stitches, you will have 1 stitch left. After that we will be making some small leaves at the base of this flower. So for that, again we'll use the needle and insert it through the same stitch so that the tail yarn comes to the front side of the coaster. And now we will repeat the same pattern that we did for the petals. So we will be making the same but using green yarn. So you will be chaining 7. We'll be chaining 7 because already the slip stitch at the base acts as the 8th chain. So chain 7, and now into the 5th stitch from the hook, make a slip stitch. Now you actually need to slip stitch into the next stitch, that is the 6th stitch, and then do this chain of 4. Here I did a little bit of mistake, but anyway it won't make much of a difference. And then the chain 4, you will slip stitch back into the same stitch. Now again slip stitch into the 7th stitch from the hook, and then chain 4 and slip stitch back into the same stitch. So this pattern should be exactly like what we did for the petals. And now we are going to slip stitch to the base of the first stitch, and this will bring the stitch to the center. And now you have left 1 stitch remaining at the base of the flower, so you'll be slip stitching into this stitch now. And this is, I mean, we are done with the stem. Also you can pull the tail yarn out through this slip stitch, and we are going to use a needle now. And using the needle we will be stitching the 2 leaves on either side to the sides of the flower. So this is one of the leaf, so we'll be stitching it to the side of the flowers on that side. And now we'll be inserting through a nearby stitch there and pulling it back to the front side, and then move to the first leaf. And now this first leaf we will be stitching to the sides of this flower bunch. So we just want this last cluster of green leaves to be attached to the side of the flowers on both sides. So after doing that, bring the stitch to the center, and now you can just pass it through some existing stitches and then trim off the excess yarn. So just insert it, you can also insert it to the back side, and then just pass it through few of the existing stitches or place a knot and then trim it off. You can also dab a bit of glue to the end so that it does not come off. So here our coaster with the flower is ready, and we need to stitch in the tail yarns on the back side. So we're going to do that. So for the pink yarn, just pass it through few of the existing stitches in pink color, and then trim off the excess, and then dab a bit of glue to the end of the tail yarn to make it secure. Similarly for the green yarn also, pass it through few of the existing stitches. We want the back side also to be neat, so make sure to pass it through only the green color stitches and trim off. So as you can see, the back side also does not have much of tail yarns and unnecessary stitches, and the front side has the beautiful flower on it. You can use a stiffening spray, so I have used a stiffening spray on most of my coasters. You can just spray it on. You can shape it using a hand, or sometimes I place wrought iron pan on top of the coaster so that it flattens out, and you can let it dry. And once it dries, you can see that the coasters hold their shape much better than without the stiffening spray. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and do check out the description for more details on the things used, and subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for notifications on new videos, and give me a thumbs up for this video if you liked it. Do share your comments if you have any, Thank you very much for watching and have a great day, guys.